Welcome everyone to the latest episode in the Deep Dive series, where I'll be taking a look at the Pauline Pipe in the Singapore Tour. We'll be going to all new depths of analysis here for these drivers, karts, and gliders, particularly the glittering Parasol, brand new item in the game that's now available, as well as the Magic Parasol, which was previously a bundle-only item, now available in the pipes for the first time. And I'll have some very exclusive analysis on the value of some of these older items and what it means for the larger Mario Kart Tour ecosystem as a whole. If that all sounds good to you, please do share your support. We do data-driven, objective coverage of this game. Subscribe to the channel, and if you're already a subscriber, by all means, leave a thumbs up. To begin our coverage, we'll be taking a look at the drivers that are available, and it's all three variants of the character Pauline. So we have the base form of Pauline, which only has access to 9 assumed tracks. Now, granted, the context here is that she was available from the very start of the game, and these other characters came in more recently, which is the case for Pauline Party Time, who became available for the first New Year's tour, which was for 2020, and she has only 13 tracks of assumed value. And then we have this Pauline Rose, who became available during the Peach versus Daisy tour, which took place around Valentine's Day in 2021. And her assumed value count is all the way up to 20 tracks, and she has 30 tracks total value with those 10 Nitro courses. A reminder, if those of you don't follow the terminology here closely, Nitro tracks are the ones that are either city themed or unique to Mario Kart Tour, such as Merry Mountain and Ninja Hideaway. The number of tracks these characters possess reflect a larger generalized trend in Mario Kart Tour's ecosystem, whereby newer items obtain a larger number of tracks over time. So the items that are just becoming available now, such as the glittering Parasol, will eclipse the total number of tracks of previous items brought to the game, such as a glider from the first year. Naturally, all value isn't created equally. Just because items have a larger number of tracks doesn't mean that those tracks necessarily possess a significant amount of value. That's something that I would call empty calories, where items may be filled in with tracks that make them look more impressive. Statistically, they become more powerful in the various rankings that are available to us. However, just because an item possesses a larger number of tracks doesn't mean that those tracks are relatively useful for your account, and that's an individualized situation based on your inventory and the depth of coverage that you already possess. Now, as we go deeper into this analysis, I'm going to leave Pauline, the base high-end form, off the table here. She's available in the daily selects, and her value is the most insignificant out of these two. What I really want to take a look at is the value of Pauline Party Time as well as Pauline Rose. Now, Pauline Party Time gets kind of a bad rap, and that's because if you're using coverage spreadsheets or if you're making these observations for yourself, you no doubt are aware that Pauline Party Time has the largest percentage of Coinbox overlap among all of the Coinbox drivers that are available in the game. And that is currently sitting at 92% of her 13 assumed tracks of value. Only one of those tracks, which is DK Pass R, is unique to her coverage alone, which is unlocked at level 3 in her coverage. Among the class of Coinbox drivers, there are 3 weight variations that exist. There's lightweight Coinbox drivers, middleweight Coinbox drivers, and heavyweight Coinbox drivers. Now, Pauline Party Time is a heavyweight Coinbox driver, and what that does is it affects the size of the hitbox. So if you're a heavyweight driver, your hitbox is going to be the maximum size. And when you use the item Coinbox, the coins will spit out all across the track. So the larger size driver you are, the more coins you're able to obtain, which increases your action count and your score at the end of the race. it's these heavyweight coin box drivers that are the cream of the crop when it comes to scoring potential in Mario Kart Tour. So with that context, if we remove from the coverage consideration the middleweight and the lightweight coin box drivers, we actually find that Pauline Party Time has less than 50% overlap with just heavyweight coin box drivers as well as boomerang high-end drivers, which boomerang, depending upon the specific track that is being raced on, can be superior and eclipse the value of coin box in terms of its scoring potential. There are several conclusions we can draw from this information. For starters, the amount of assumed coverage that Pauline Party Time presents is relatively minor for coin box drivers, meaning that if your account is one of limited resource value, such as a free-to-play account or a newer account, while it may be beneficial to obtain Pauline Party Time, to invest into her greatly enough to bring her to a high level is a questionable move, because there are coin box drivers, particularly the newer set of coin box drivers, that present much greater unique track coverage than does Party Time Pauline, and you can get more bang for your buck with your investment there. However, if you are a long-time player, a player that is looking for every little competitive niche that you can find, and you're willing to invest resources into that, Pauline Party Time is actually significantly underrated in that regard, because she is the maximum scoring potential on more than half of her assumed course count. Turning our sights to Pauline Rose now, she's become famous in the game as one of the characters that I would call a paywall warrior, where she has received the buffing favor on a lot of these debut tracks that appear in ranked mode. So these are the brand new ones that have the most exclusive top shelf availability. Now, while Pauline Rose has a glowing reputation in terms of earning these tracks, there is a caveat here, and it really speaks to the detriment of the Mario Kart Tour ecosystem, and that has to do with overlap to the elite special skills in the game. Strictly looking at Coinbox alone, her overlap is 80%. Only 4 of her 20 assumed tracks have unique coverage that avoids any of the Coinbox drivers. And of those 4 tracks, if we include then the high-end boomerang drivers that have been brought to the game and really have not had a sufficient level of balancing in terms of the amount of tracks that they are given relative to the Coinbox drivers, we see that a driver like Pauline Rose has had her niche cut all the way down to 5% unique coverage, since boomerang high-end drivers occupy 3 of those 4 tracks that Pauline Rose encounters where she does not run into overlap with Coinbox drivers. Most of her value resides in the nitro-based tracks that she receives ranked buffing favor towards, and those tracks have a lower percentage of overlap with the Coinbox and the boomerang skills. This presents a scenario where we see game balance being carried out in a number of different ways, and not all with equal proportions, where we see that the Coinbox drivers do have a sufficient degree of control and restraint on behalf of the development team in expanding their course count. However, this is not seen with boomerang drivers, who are on an equal plane in terms of what they are able to perform in the game. And this addition of the boomerang high-end drivers, they're becoming more prolific, and they have less of an attention given to placing a cap on their track counts, which is only facilitating the destruction of niches for all of these other drivers. The development team at Mario Kart Tour needs to place a greater emphasis on the balance between these elite drivers, how many of them are brought to the game, and what kind of course coverage that they're obtaining in relationship to these other drivers that have just, as I would call them, conventional special skills. They're being backfilled onto these assumed value courses for all of these drivers. It's like taking a blowtorch to these niches for all the other drivers that exist in the game, because frankly, the majority of drivers that exist are the ones with just the ordinary conventional skills. With the decimation of their niche, it makes it all the less likely and significant for players to pay any mind or investment into those drivers, as is the case here for Pauline Rose. If you're a player that has missed out on her value in the past, which is all of the city tracks which she may have saved you in ranked mode for, and you're just saying, hey, this may be a good opportunity for me to pick up Pauline Rose. Well, if we take a look at her 5% unique coverage, matched up against the coin boxers and the boomerang drivers, that is an emphatic no. This is not worth going into for her, and it doesn't have to be this way, but that is the composition of her course value and a reflection of the greater Mario Kart Tour ecosystem as a whole. Next up, let's take a look at the carts that are available. Now, what's interesting here is we have the 3 taxis. There's the yellow taxi, the platinum taxi, and the red taxi. And these 3 carts were in a pipe all the way back in the Peach Tour in the year 2020. Now, that was launched in a 30 pipe. It was quite a good pipe for the time. I believe it was the first 30 pipe that was available even. But the value of these items hasn't expanded very much in the last 2 years, and it really shows. And it reflects on how poor of a selection these carts are. So while they may present you with a new item if you're pulling for these carts, the kind of value that they're conferring is abysmal, to be honest. For the yellow taxi, just like the base form of Pauline that's available in the daily selects, it's only presenting 9 courses of assumed value. Now, the one cart that does have redeemable value is the platinum taxi. That was the New Year's taxi that came out along with Pauline Party Time, and that has, just like Pauline Party Time, 13 courses of assumed value, and a number of those are courses that appear multiple times in ranked mode, such as Row Raceway R, for instance. So if you've had the Platinum Taxi, you know that that's an item that, while the course count is low, those are common retro tracks that are featured in ranked mode. And then taking a look at the Red Taxi, which is slightly newer, but doesn't present any additional course coverage overall. It just has a meager 12 courses of assumed value along with the 4 nitro tracks. Now, taking a look at their assumed value overlap, it's extraordinarily low between these 3. But none of these are cards that you really want to be investing into. And I'm basically only showing this information to provide a more general point when it comes to overlap, is that when you have a smaller selection of items that you're observing, whether that be in your own inventory or whether you're considering pulling for them, from a mathematical probability sense, they will have fewer overlap, because we're talking about, think of it as a pie, and there's fewer slices that need to be divided up. So generally speaking, we're going to be finding less overlap with smaller selection of carts, particularly emphasized by the fact that these do not have a significant number of coverage to begin with, which makes the probability of having overlap between any of them all the less likely. And now we get to the appetizing part of the pipe, and that comes in the way of the gliders. All 3 of them possess an extraordinary amount of value in their own right, starting off with the Rose Parasol, which was released in the 100 Spotlight pipe in the Peach versus Daisy Tour alongside of Pauline Rose. And it started off with just 8 tracks of value, but it had very strong ranked value up front, being a special pipe item. Now, this one was unique because it was a 100 Spotlight pipe, so it doesn't exactly fit the mold of any other Spotlight pipe that we've looked at, but that's all in the past. Essentially, I'm showing how the value progressed over time. It had significant ranked value up front, which is a hallmark of special pipe items, but it also received quite a bit of late-term value, which was assisted by the fact that it was reintroduced as a 100 Spotlight weekly pipe item. Next up, we're going to look at the Magic Parasol, which debuted in the Halloween 2021 tour, in the way of a purchasable bundle. So this is the first time now it's being made available through the pipe for the free-to-play players out there, as well as for the Gold Pass only players. Taking a look at the progression of the Magic Parasol's value, it's quite apparent that it's on the fast track for obtaining a large number of tracks. It's already at 23 courses of value. Now granted, a good percentage of them are nitro based. However, given the trend of a lot of these recent items, they are receiving their adequate fill of assumed value courses over time. And the Magic Parasol is currently in the middle of its peak value season. So this is a good time to obtain this glider. It will continue to grow in the way of value. Being that this is the 7th tour for the Magic Parasol, there's still room to grow. It's at the tail end of its initial peak, and its presence in the special pipe may extend that peak a little bit further, and if not, it will go into an alteration pattern whereby it will receive a few more additions to its value between 1 and 3 tracks for a tour, and then hold steady for a few tours before it's reintroduced here and there, sprinkled out over the next so often. Taking a look at the value for the brand new glider, the Glittering Parasol, let's take a look at its course coverage and see what its initial value is, as well as projecting its immediate upgrades that we can expect to find. Its level 1 tracks is going to provide us with DK Pass, as well as DK Pass R, RMX Vanilla Lake, as well as this Singapore Speedway T, which is the ranked track for week 1's ranked mode. Its level 3 unlocked tracks provide us with a few more retros in the way of Toad Circuit R and DK Pass T. And it gains access if you have the tickets or are willing to pull it enough times along with investing in those tickets to unlock Singapore Speedway, the normal variant, which is a ranked track in the 2nd week of ranked mode, as well as the trick version of RMX Vanilla Lake 1T. So all told, it's starting off with 8 tracks of value, which, as we saw previously with the Magic Parasol, is not the maximum. So it's not starting off with the maximum. However, it does start off with 75% assumed value for its course coverage. And we know from the data mining that's been made available that the subsequent tour to now will be a rally tour in the way of Wario versus Waluigi. Given that this is a city tour, and it's unlikely that the follow-up to this will also possess city tracks, which means that the assumed value of the Glittering Parasol here will rise in its 2nd tour. And that's significant because we know that from a statistical sense, the 2nd greatest enhancement to items comes during their 2nd tour. First being the first and the 2nd being the 2nd. It's very simple in that regard. So the fact that this will be more than likely receiving entirely assumed value courses speaks very well to its value. That's in the immediate sense. The context of this pipe is that it's a 50 pipe with a spotlight. So you can make reference to my analysis of the gold home field glider. I'll put it in a card up above. And that will be the projection moving forward. Remember, items that debut in a special pipe receive the paywall buffing favor earlier in this lifespan as opposed to later in their lifespan. So this item will be observed in ranked mode, likely on new tracks more than old retro tracks that are returning to the tour over the next couple of months. Now, taking a look at the actual details of the pipe, we see that it has 12% high-end odds, which is phenomenal, especially given that this is a 50 pipe. So the distribution, we have 2 drivers, 2 carts, and 2 gliders. But from each of these pools of items, we see that the Glittering Parasol is a spotlight. So it's going to be a 2-2-1-1 pipe, technically speaking, whereby you will have a 50-50 chance of obtaining either the Rose Parasol or the Magic Parasol. Since the main attraction of this pipe exists with the gliders and the odds are quite simple, I'm going to forgo using the calculator and just provide the simple explanation for your odds here. If you go into the pipe and pull the standard high-end glider in this selection one time, you'll have a 50-50 chance of having it be either the Magic Parasol or the Rose Parasol. And if you reset to get a second high-end glider from the standard selection, each time your odds will make it half of the way towards 100%. So the second time it will be 75% and then 87.5%, so on and so forth, as far as you're willing to invest with this. So in terms of obtaining the gliders, the odds are very good in this, particularly considering that the glittering Parasol is a spotlight in this pipe. You're guaranteed to obtain it in the 225 rubies. So generally speaking, I wouldn't advise pulling on this pipe until you obtain the Magic Parasol. The strategy from a efficient budgetary perspective would be to go into this pipe for the glittering Parasol, and if you happen to obtain the Magic Parasol, that's an added bonus. Might be worth considering a contingency to reset the pipe if you get the standard glider early in your first pull, and then you're not inflating the budget greatly to obtain a little bit of an additional chance to obtain that item, since this is the first time it's available in a pipe, and that might be something that you want to invest in right now since it's still at the tail end of its peak value season. So all in all, should you pull on this pipe? Well, it definitely depends on who you are. It is quite tempting with the odds right, but bear in mind all of the information that I provided at the start and find where that information presents value and relevance to your unique situation. I never tell what exactly to do in this game. I just provide the information and empower your own decision-making process. So that's all I have to say about this pipe. Now let's go into the all clear pipe for the fun, right? So let's do the Mega Boss challenge here, where we have versus Megaroy. We're gonna go with DK, right? And we got the Ramby Runner looking really nice there. And maybe I'll go with the red shell glider, but I'll actually go in with a high-end red shell glider since the frequency that you pull the single item is increased based on the rarity of the glider. So that super glider that was in the top shelf actually confers a slightly lower chance of obtaining the single item, as does the Crimson Crane, which is all the way in the bottom shelf, but it's a high end. So a little bit of multiplayer strat there that I picked up from Philish. So here we go. Never know what to expect with these things. Okay, Bob-omb makes sense since I believe its special skill is the double Bob-omb, but as is always the case with these mega bosses, it always comes down to the last section of the track, right? Like, they'll take the funniest, weird, slow lines if you fall behind them, and then if you get out in front, they'll rubber band like a demon out there. So this is a good spot to probably back spam. Yes, we get the hit. See if we can get the hit there too. Nice, we got both hits. Looking good. I think I'll drop the giant banana there and see what happens. Yeah, so he really far behind there. That's good. We appear to be set up pretty good. I'm looking at the map. It's not very close. Oh, I forgot this is 2 laps. Okay. But we did get the hit on the back spam, so that's pretty good. I'll save this giant banana for inside the tunnel here. Should get a hit. And it will be interesting to see how much does the bot rubber band back from this position, because I don't know if I've ever had such a big lead in one of these, to be honest with you. This is a great track. Really emphasizes just how good Donkey Kong is, and certainly was when Dino Jungle was featured more prominently in ranked mode. So we're going to take the jump boost on the side since we know that it goes quicker. And look at this lead that we've opened up, folks. This is really good stuff. Really good. And there you have it. We took that one by a country mile, all thanks to DK. So really good there. Okay, and I did save, I wanted a little bit of redemption for the photo challenge that occurred for the all clear pipe in the last tour, where I didn't get the jump boost. It must have been like a split second after the jump boost animation. So while I was in flight with the glider, it didn't count as a jump boost. So we're gonna take it proper this time and get that jump boost. And I thought it was a nice setting since we have the roaring racer cart along with Vacation Luigi in Singapore, which the dev team had spent quite a lot of hours, I'm sure, developing this beautiful rendition of Singapore. So we're going to try to do it justice right here with a pick. So let's actually set it into landscape mode, right? Yeah, we want landscape mode. And then we're going to put it into gyro mode, and we're just going to wait for one of those jump boosts. Nice that they have Funky Kong included here. Oh wait, so there's let's see what we can get here. So there's a jump boost. But you know what? That isn't really photo-esque. So let's try to find it on one of the glider sections or going up a ramp. So yeah, we're going to get it right here. Actually, I don't know if this is going to count as a jump boost though. That's another problem. So I'm going to keep going with it right here. So that's going to be our jump boost. Now the question is, do we have all the drivers here? So we have Luigi, we have Funky Kong. Not really getting a shot that I like, so we'll keep going a little bit, right? So there's Funky. Where did Mario go? We got to put an APB out for Mario. Oh, there he is. He's all the way over there. Okay. So this looks like it might be a cool shot. I just hope that this counts as a jump boost. Otherwise, I am doomed to do this again in the next tour. So right there, that looks like a nice shot. Actually, I didn't even check the quest. It just said it had to be gliding. So it's a good thing I didn't take the picture on the initial jump boost. I just assumed that it was a jump boost, and we all know what they say about assuming, don't we? So got all of the stars on that one, and we're going into the all clear pipe. Ranked mode in the first week has been pretty fun for me. Oh wait, this is on landscape mode still. Interesting. So we'll get to see who I've been racing with. We see quite a bit of Diddy Kong there, and definitely I'm expecting Funky Kong to be my #1. As I triple capped him, I earned the base points up by racing with him in both multiplayer as well as Waluigi Pinball and some of the other courses that he's available on, just to get to the total points challenge number needed in order to obtain those high-end tickets. So here we go, all cups cleared. What do I want to see? We want to see the Funky Kong. We can bring him all the way to level 7 with just one more pull. But otherwise, there is a whole host of new gliders that have been added. I still don't have the Black Great Sail. I mean, the Silver Bells, which is going back a real long ways, but we have the Silver Surf Master now. We have the Starry Great Sail. A number of gliders I still don't have. So hopefully we get something good here, folks. Let's just pull on it. Okay, Strawberry Donut. This is actually pretty good because this is one of the strongest gliders in my inventory, and it takes it all the way up to level 5. So this is a fantastic duplicate. It enhances the coverage for a number of my drivers that I'm invested into. So that's a really nice pull. Anyway, I hope you all have equally as kind luck to you in the pipes, all clear pipe, whether you're using your rubies on the Pauline pipe or in the week 1 pipe looking for the Luigi Vacation. Best of luck to all you out there, and as always, please do share your support with the channel. I'm so grateful for all the subscriptions that come in. It really means the world to me. And if you're already a subscriber, by all means, please drop a thumbs up on this. It helps it reach more people out there, and I do believe in the information and the data analysis that we do here, and that it does have a strong impact on the experiences of all the players out there. So I'll be seeing you all soon. Take care, everyone.